and share some screen stuff.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you. Okay. Yeah, the meeting issue, Andre, again, we still have that issue with it's not going into status. But so that's okay. I'll just put it manually into status. So, you know, that's fine, you know. But so, yeah, I'm just mentioning that. Okay, so.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was just asked, did the issue from the last meeting or the meeting before last, I don't think it closed itself, did it?
Okay,
or did it?
We can check that as well. Okay, well, welcome everyone to the latest meeting of the SingularityNET Archives Workgroup. SingularityNET Archive contains a history of the activities of the SingularityNET Ambassador Program, and we endeavour to provide a collaborative archive community to share ideas, and we welcome contributions. Whether it's a new project code example or documentation. The way this part of the meeting works is that I start with this meeting issue, and we go through we go through a project board, and then we discuss any other items. So just before we jump into development stuff, Andre, I'm just reordered it here. Do we have any updates on governance Gitbook?
Yeah, a little bit. I raised it in the deep funding focus group session yesterday, and we were just talking about, you know, the idea of documenting deep funding town halls and stuff like that, and putting that and the focus group stuff and including that on the governance Gitbook. People are quite into doing that, but it might also be mirrored on another Gitbook that Jan is thinking he might set up just for deep funding itself. Actually, what he's thinking of is a WordPress website that maybe links off to different things like Gitbooks or whatever. So yeah, we also, we'll talk about the other thing later, but that's basically all to say. And basically what I need to do is do a major update to the governance Gitbook. And I think we probably haven't, I think what we've worked out is that there's budget for that would need to be in Q1 next year, because we haven't got enough to cover it this year. But I can start thinking about it and drafting it. So yeah, it's all good.
Okay, we'll move on now to tool development. There's two issues. One's probably historical for October, still open, Andre, and the other one's November. But should we just cover the work that you've done today?
Yeah,
I can close October.
Yes, you can close that.
Yeah.
November. Yeah.
And then we'll move on to November as the latest cost issue. Okay, over to you, Andre.
I'll drop the link in chat. Maybe you can put that on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll just quickly guide you through it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have to log in again. You'll have to log in again. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's good. We can do a demonstration of the process, hopefully. Hopefully it'll authorize. Yeah, I've already authorized, don't I should be. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I select work group, yeah.
Yeah, select onboarding, because it's the
that one,
onboarding. Yeah.
Oh, that's so okay.
So they will fill this in. Each work group has a template, and then you'll see at the top left there's another drop down next to the work groups, that one. So what happens is once they start filling in summaries,
right,
when you click on that drop down, it will show the last 6 summaries if you want to go back in time.
Okay.
And then when you save the summary, it will save at the date you select in the top, in the middle of the top.
Yeah.
There's a date drop. That's it. Whenever you submit the summary, it will save it to the date you select here. So it's important that people know. So whatever this date is set to, it's going to save the summary to that date. And then if you click on archive summary,
archive summaries, okay.
Yes, so this is where we will look at it, or Vanessa will look at it, and then you can make changes if you maybe see spelling mistake, or on the right hand side it shows how it's gonna look.
Okay,
and then if you hit submit, don't hit submit now. Don't hit submit now. Oh,
whoops! Have I broken it?
What did it say? What did it say?
It just had already done.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness. Okay, no, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens is if you hit submit here, it's gonna update the Git book and it's gonna send the message to Discord. It's already set up to send the message to the SingularityNET Discord. So it is live now. If we want to start testing real summaries, we could do that. But maybe Vanessa and me can just go through the templates one more time, see if everything is there. I've updated all the templates. Yeah.
Do you say it's live now on Discord? So that just updated on Discord, did it? Or
no, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Okay.
I've got a security measure in there. So if it's not a security, but if it's already updated, it won't update again. Unless if it's really necessary, I can quickly change something and it will update.
Right.
Okay, so if you press twice, it doesn't do it twice.
So if there's small tweaks to be done to the markdown here, Andre, like so if I do like add a space there or something, and or under here, space there, that kind of thing, and then as I submit that, will it update this right-hand side as well?
Yeah, the right-hand side is like a preview.
And if I
spaces there.
So if I submit that now, go on.
You won't really see the spaces. That's the. I think I might need to do some formatting for the narrative block, but you won't really see other spaces. But the reason why this one won't submit now is because I've got a column in the database that says it's already submitted, even if you make changes.
Okay.
So it won't. But if you create a new summary and submit it, and it's your first time on the screen, when you submit it or do everything it needs to do.
Okay. I see you've got a field type of meeting. What are the options there? Is it weekly, fortnightly, and like one-off, or what?
It's like the usual meetings is weekly meetings. So the reason I put it there is, say they do have like a workshop or any meeting that's not the same as every week. You can change it and it's going to be the same every week.
I just think there should be an option for fortnightly because quite a lot of
you can
do.
You can
change I think it should be a drop down rather than something that you type in.
But then, okay, that's fine. Then you must just think of options like workshop, fortnightly, what the options will be.
Okay. The onboarding workshop entry form is based on the full template. Is that right?
No, it's a customized template Vanessa made.
Right.
But we'll have to maybe sit down and just go through like this template updates, this town hall updates. Is it okay like that box, or does it need to be a list of things like that?
Okay, and that gives you the name of the meeting, the date, and link to any media, which would be like a YouTube recording, that kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, or it could be could be a Google documentation or stuff like that as well, presumably.
I
And then-
sort of feel like we might need to refine the template for town hall updates because they are really different from general meetings, and I haven't actually done a template for those. But what you've got there looks
Yeah.
pretty good, but it might need a tweak, I guess.
Right. And
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
so the town hall update section is for is a summary of everything for town hall. Then.
Yeah, but I think it
Yeah.
needs to be quite brief, and it's kind of just picking out like the summaries that Peter has done when he's done a summary of like Ambassador's Town Hall. It's quite brief and snappy. And I think there are rarely action items coming out of a town hall. So yeah, it just might need a little tweak, I guess.
Right. Okay.
This is the onboardings template. It's I remember you said
Sorry. Yeah, I'm totally at
town
cross
hall
purposes
update.
here, aren't I? Yeah, just I mean, two people here already know, but this is something that came out of an onboarding meeting that when we give town hall updates, sometimes we're like, oh, what did we say we'd say? Oh, so we're having a field that details what we said we'd say in town hall. But no, I
Okay.
was just saying that we might need an additional template for town hall
Oh,
summaries because they're different from most kinds of meetings. So
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The confusion between okay, I see. So I mean, what we're talking about here is this box here, which will give a recording of how people can summarize the meeting at a town hall, and then there's a separate template for town halls themselves. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's all discussion points. Discussion points are they like an agenda item or?
They like just little topics that came up in the
Topics.
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then decisions, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. So you have a decision, who it affects, the rationale, and who opposes, or maybe that's a number. Is that a number, or is that?
it's not who opposes, it's what the opposing argument was.
Oh,
So
right.
that doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
One thing I also did at the top, I did this. If you hover above the fields, it will give you a description. But I haven't added it to all the fields yet. But at the very top, you'll see. So what I'll do is we can add descriptions at every field. So if people are uncertain what they need to enter there, then they can just hover and it will tell them.
Okay, so that needs to be added for okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that will help people and guide them in what a decision item is and what all that kind of stuff. What discussion points are. Okay, and then action items with assignees and due dates and status, which is pretty standard Kanban board type status. And then learning points. What's the rationale behind learning points again? Sorry.
Maybe Vanessa can answer.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't look completely like the template that we've been using. I mean, maybe Love and Onyeka can come in on this, but just scroll up a little bit, Stephen, if you can. I don't remember us having discussion point. I think we called it in this meeting we discussed, and I think that would be a clearer heading. But then yeah, we've got decisions and action items, and then if you scroll down a little bit, learning points are just like it's kind of taken from what TiVo does in the full archival template. It's just things that we learnt in the discussion,
Okay.
by talking we realized that blah 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 blah. So we have been using that.
Right.
And I think it's kind of useful, but as you say, Andre, maybe it needs a little explanatory thing about what it means. But
And maybe that could feed into sort of like knowledge base stuff in the future.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering with action items, Andre, does an uncompleted action item then sort of have we managed to implement that thing where that carries over to the next agenda, or it becomes an agenda item and it outputs an agenda for you, or is that not yet?
It will only not yet, but like things like that can only work on templates that has agenda items. Like this template doesn't really have an agenda item. It's just
well, I guess we've just called it something else. This is what I was saying to you in Telegram about how sometimes it's the same thing, but a group calls it something else. So in the end, in this meeting, we discussed is kind of our agenda items. If it would be easier to standardize it and just call it the same thing, I think that's something that we can work with.
But what will it look like? So if it's an action item that didn't complete, so what will it look like in the next meeting? Will it just be another action item? Or
I mean, what we do at the moment with like doing it in a Google Doc is that we just transfer the action items to the next agenda as an agenda item, and we just go through and say, were they done? But I don't know how this could, if this would output that.
I mean, that's in the database, isn't it, Andre? So
how it depends how you want it. Should there be a list at the top that shows like a list of agenda items?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it should just be a list of the action items from the last meeting should appear at the top, and you can just tick them off as done. And if they're not done, then it carries over to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
it's a bit fiddly, isn't it? It feels a bit fiddly, but yeah. But you know, again, that is only going through the action items from the last meeting is only one agenda item. So I don't know, maybe it needs to be at the very top, and then any other agenda items will be something you'll just have to manually write in when you're doing the documentation, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think to expect any historical action items, if they're in to do or in progress or even done, actually, that you would have a visibility of that, you know. So, I mean, yes, it does. I mean, presumably the kind of the standard procedure is to go through action items usually at the beginning of the meeting, right?
If everything you enter here is going to show in the next meeting. So what I thought, maybe if something gets done, then it doesn't show in the next meeting. But if it's not done, it's show in the next meeting again.
Yeah, so to do and in progress are shown, but not done or cancelled.
So that's the thing then, isn't it? Because it's okay. In a meeting, you create action items and that goes into your summary, but it's not until the next meeting that you assess whether it's done or not, quite often. So it would need to put them at the top, and then you tick them off then. And then there needs to be this same field to add any new ones.
Yeah.
That the existing ones will stay on here, and I'll add the section at the top as well.
Okay.
So if you want to change an assignee, maybe you want to move the due date, it's still there. You can do that next meeting.
Right. I think we need to test this. We probably need a couple of meeting data records. So because at the moment it looks a bit, it's not very intuitive, is it? Because we don't really so
I mean, we can certainly test this in onboarding because you know this is a structure that we're already using. But I'm also wondering when it's less the case for onboarding because we meet every week, but for fortnightly ones, I wonder. It would mess things up a little bit if people were changing the status to done halfway through before the next meeting, wouldn't it? Because what we need is a fixed record that goes into the Git book as this is the minutes of this meeting. Yeah, so you don't want to be messing with it. Yeah,
kind of source of truth, isn't it? So
But it's kind of like, in a way, what goes into the Git book and what we document, the status of it isn't really part of that, because hopefully at some point all action items will eventually be done. So what we're trying to do two things here. We're trying to create the source of truth record for the archive, and we're also trying to manage action items and decision points for groups in order to not lose decisions and not forget about action items. So we're trying to support groups to make good decisions, and it's kind of two things in one.
Yeah, Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can have them separated, because if you're archiving decision making, or then that kind of implies that you are recording decisions made,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
but I think
yeah,
no, but you do have to separate the action items thing, because at the point that you archive something, presumably none of the action items have been done, otherwise they wouldn't be there.
yeah,
But at some point they will become done, and the record shouldn't change because they've been done. It's like the next meeting is where you do that.
yeah. What I mean is there should be a record of when it's done.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and then so I'd expect to see in the lifetime of meetings in the archive record, I'd expect to see under each archive entry a list of open action items, if you like, yeah, and then when they're closed, a list of those that are closed.
See, I don't know, because this is more like trying to make it into a GitHub board, which I think we all secretly want to do, but it's not archival, is it?
No, what I mean, yeah, it is archival to record a change of status. What I mean is, like, once it's moved to done, that needs to be recorded and then dropped.
No, I don't really agree.
Mm.
I think maybe this is something we should talk about outside the meeting and try and firm up a little bit, Andre.
Okay. So learning points we covered as just then, which you kind of referenced, TiVo's use. And issues, how is that? What are issues meant for?
I'm not sure. What is that? Is that issues to be carried over, Andre?
Yeah, it's that issues to be carried over.
Ah,
Right.
cool. So that answers your question in the chat. This is the stuff that we haven't got to in the meeting and that we need to carry over to the next meeting.
Right. So that could turn into action items at some point.
Oh, not exactly, no, because an action item is something that's assigned to someone with a specific date on it. This is just maybe if you've got an agenda item that you didn't get to, or if out of the discussion you realise that you need to add an agenda item next time.
Okay.
So I think it should be maybe retitled to issues to carry over to. It's a bit long-winded, but just to make it clear.
Or outstanding
Yes,
issues or something like that.
Issues to carry over might be clear. I don't know. Let's worry about it. Let's hope.
I'll look at it is on the template you gave me. I'll just look at those titles and
I don't know
change
if
them,
we've I don't know if we've used the best titles in the template.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
So maybe we should
Yeah,
have a look at that.
I have to say that the interface looks a lot better now, Andre. So
It looks great. I
it
love
looks great. Yeah, it looks great. It's kind of, is it mobile friendly as well? I'm not sure. It looks kind of mobile friendly.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then tags are topics covered. The kind of self-explanatory, which you can add there presumably from a drop-down list, or you can add new ones, I imagine.
Yes, yeah.
Same with emotions, which is intriguing, and then references would be, yeah, okay. So anything that is reference worthy in the meeting, presumably, and
I think it's all, isn't it? Even if they've been mentioned in the meeting summary, but it's like sources. So you can add a link in that field, can you? Because that's what it's mostly going to be is links to things.
Andre?
I wonder if I should maybe change the box. But yeah, you can add links.
Right.
I think I'll test it out a bit to see what it looks like if you add lots of links. I'm not sure how that will look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to, yeah. And what's other general?
Anything that doesn't fit the above, I suppose.
Right. Okay.
Maybe we don't, maybe we should not have it to discourage it.
Yeah, it's a bit, free for all a little bit. Yeah.
But you've got to remember that this is the first stage of a tag taxonomy. And as I've this is the methodology that I've used in community archiving quite a lot, is you people tag every bloody thing they can think of, and then you start to analyze it and refine it down. You know, because sometimes people will use different words for the same thing, and you
Yeah.
can refine it to an actual, and then it could just drop down for most of it.
It feels like if there's disambiguation between topics or emotions, so if you don't know if it's a topic or an emotion, you put it in other. That's what my, so
I think if you don't know if it's a topic or an emotion, you probably need to go and look at your life a bit.
Yeah, I know. Everything either falls into topics or emotions after all, doesn't it? Yeah, or a reference potentially.
One thing about the emotions thing that I've noticed, now I'm sure Thibaut won't mind me name checking him here. He's tending to write a sentence, whereas I was picturing it as a word, you know, a key word as a tag. But, you know, when he answers that question, he'll be like, oh, this was an amazing meeting because, or this was a difficult meeting because. Would that still work, do you think, Andre, if it was a sentence? Or does it make it difficult to search?
Yeah, it can work. I'm just
Wouldn't a sentence be?
no, it can work. Yeah, you'll see if you add lots of words to these.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Tag
obviously
boxes,
you can add it, but I'm just wondering,
Yeah,
is there a point in adding it? Because it would be quite difficult to search.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
wondering if maybe I should, maybe I'll ask Thibaut if he can get it to words or if we can extrapolate words from it, from what he's written.
For the AI, it's not a problem, but for us, it might be a problem to search. Yeah.
Okay. But then mostly we are going to be trying to search using AI, so maybe it's okay.
So
Yeah,
it looks like small sentences could be doable, but the question is whether, as you say, whether that's desirable or not. You know, whether it should be a single word or not. But yeah. Do we want to look at any other templates, Andre, or just apart from the onboarding one?
This was just an example. You can look if you want to,
Right.
but I don't know at the time. Maybe me and Vanessa need to get together at some point and just go through them again.
Yeah. Okay, that was a great overview, and the layout has improved. The kind of, so there needs to be tooltips added so people can have guidance through, and we need to, by we I mean, you know, the group needs to try out with some data. So with a number of meetings so that we can see how it looks in practice, and then so that maybe that could be onboarding Vanessa you suggested.
Yeah, we could definitely try it out, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Love and Onyeka are both part of onboarding. And just for new people, just to say that the point of this tool, it will, when people fill it in and click submit, the archive team will approve it, and then it automatically posts to the archive Gitbook and to the meeting summaries channel in Discord, which just takes so much of the kind of draggy workload out of archiving. So it's really going to be helpful and amazing.
Okay, and you've put your work record in the issue as usual. Thanks for doing that, Andre. So you've linked to the actual submits on GitHub, yeah. So
yes,
yeah,
that's right.
Okay. Is there any other comments or do you want anything else to say on this, Andre?
Nah, I think it's fine. I'll just meet with Penny and then we can finalize those templates.
I'd love to know, Love and Onyeka, if you've got anything you want to say about first impressions, if you think it looks useful or anything. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
No.
I have a quick question to you.
Okay.
The platform where you guys have dealt with place where it's from missing summaries. I want to know, is it a public platform where you could just go and organize some kind of table format for people to submit missing summaries, or you guys came up with it? Okay. I've been checking this site and I'm like, have I seen this before?
I
So
think,
that's yes.
I mean, I
Did
think
you
you
hear
can
me?
a little bit muffled, but I think, I think the design of the templates was based on discovery. Is that right, Vanessa? You went and
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
do you want to speak to that a little bit?
We talked to work group leads and kind of, well, I designed 3 basic templates based on what I'd seen people were already doing, and then spoke to several of the work group leads and asked them to tweak it or add things. And we can still, up to an extent, can still customize them, but not that much. And so what I'm thinking is that maybe there needs to be maybe another iteration in the long term where we look at how it's working in a few months and go, all right, what do we need to change? And I'm sort of hoping that gradually they'll become more convergent, because yeah, maybe it is awkward to have these really really customized templates, because like if a new work group sets up, we have to go through this process again, and we'll see how it goes and we'll see how people work with it, but yeah.
That answer your question.
Yeah, it did.
And then Niobe, you raised your hand.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, when will this tool be ready? And the second one is, some work groups like the incubation work group, they use Miro to document. So how are we going to do, how are we going to come about this? How are we
Yeah.
going to use this tool to implement their own meetings?
Yeah. Well, the tool is almost ready. So we're just going to get into now testing the tool using a particular work group, like the onboarding work group has been suggested. The way people use Miro boards has already been an issue for the archive over the last few months, and it's been partly addressed by the meeting summary channel in Discord, I would suggest. So, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone here, but every single SingularityNET archive workgroup provides a summary of the meetings that they do in the Discord channel, and that provides a single place to go where people can check on things. And that was partly driven by the need for a single location, and also the accessibility, like as you say, for Miro boards, because Miro boards aren't, although they can be good to run a meeting, they're not easily archivable. Do you want anything to add to this, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good spot, that, Onyeka, that Miro boards are a little bit of a difficulty archive-wise, because in order to be able to view them, that you need to export a massive file that you can zoom in on. So some time ago, we decided that we're not actually collecting Miro boards. And with incubation, I think there's been I noticed a bit of a conversation about how they kind of see it as internal, the details of a meeting. And then I haven't actually talked to Fly yet about meeting summary templates, and I need to, but I think the way he's thinking, from what I can gather, is that when there is something that needs to be archived, then you can, they can create a summary or they can share a document or whatever. But for most of the time, what goes on in the meetings is kind of internal, I think, is the way they're thinking. But yeah, this is my problem. I haven't had a chance to speak to him about it, and find out how they're thinking. But I think, yeah, something like, I mean, strategy, they use a Miro sometimes, I think. And actually, so do we in onboarding, but we don't tend to archive them. But yeah, for some, like a lot of TiVo's ones, we'll give a link to the Miro board, but we don't actually archive an image of it anymore because it's just not helpful. So yeah.
Another thing for context, nobody that's driving this, and part of the reason why we are concerned with having a text content for meeting summaries as separately from Miro is that it can be potentially run through AIs, through large language models. So a Miro board or any graphical content is not easily translatable through AIs, and also there's the archival element, isn't there, as well, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we have looked at in previous meetings, I think TiVo's tested various tools that claim to extract text from Miro boards, and so far he's found them a little bit unsuccessful. But someday in the future there might be a tool that can really do that really well, and then we can sort of go back to archiving Miro boards more thoroughly. But yeah, it's a conundrum.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Nobi. Okay, so if we move on from there to the project board, and the next lot of items are community engagement label items. I'll just go through them. So in order. So publicising archive workgroup meetings. Is the last? All right. Okay, there was an action.
Yeah, just to say that we were going to do that presentation in town hall, but on the 7th there was quite a lot already needing to be talked about.
Right.
And then I think yesterday, TiVo was focusing on the Treasury document for Q4. So I'm sort of thinking, I think we had a quick conversation about it, me and Andre, and we just thought, shall we do it when the tool's ready to launch?
Okay.
Makes more sense.
What I'll do is, I think I could edit that. Yeah, okay. What I'll do is change that from that to that to complete when tools ready. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be maybe Peter, could you tell us like what would be the best way to make sure we don't clash with other stuff that's got to be done in an ambassador's town hall? I mean, if we give you a couple of weeks notice, maybe, or maybe we can just see it as something flexible, and if we need to step down because there's something urgent that needs to be talked about, we can push it to the following week whenever we set it for. Oh, I think he's actually on the phone.
Yeah, I think
he's gone.
he might be properly.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean we're working, so we keep it open for the moment. I just keep that action item open there. I just took the date specific stuff out of it for the moment, but we can actually see when that was raised, so we know it's still to be done. Yeah. Okay, moving on to bounties. Last was about this. Let's let this load.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bounties that we've got in place at the moment are what we're going to be doing with work group leads who have worked with us on the whole template process. And I'm just wondering how we're going to go about that. Do we actually need to add it to Discord, to DWork at some point and assign the individuals concerned? Because I mean, I think as yet, the end of the process is to talk again to the people who've been trying to use it and just go, how did it go? So that would be like Sucre, Slate, TiVo, and oh yeah, Kenichi has been. I had a little DM with him the other day, and he's been using it, but Yeah, we need to sort of maybe have a conversation with all those people and go, okay, how have you found it? Has it worked? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then my question is then what? How do we set it up on DWork? Are we just going to assign it to the individuals concerned?
Okay, so do you want to work with a particular group on that? Or is that with other ambassador work group leads?
Sorry, say again.
Do you want to work with other ambassador work group leads on that, or?
I think what I'm asking is internal. How is the archive work group who is gonna set up the bounty on DWork, and are we just gonna assign it to the individuals that we've actually worked with?
Right, yeah. I mean, I think it is quite straightforward to do that. Is that right on DWork? Just raise
No, I'm
hands.
sure it
Okay.
is, but who's going to do it?
Yeah,
I can do that if it's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
But just
All
let
right.
me know. Just let me know when you've
Well,
met
we
with them.
we can talk about it when we talk about the finalization of the
Yes.
templates, can't we? And one thing,
Yeah.
what I said before about how I've been really remiss in not getting in touch with Fly, can we still bring him onto it? Because he was like earmarked as somebody that we were going to talk to. And Andre, have you, if his work groups have a different idea of how they want to template things, have you got time and energy to be able to create a new template for them as well?
Yes, yes. If it's similar, like similar format, like say a list
Right.
of issues or discussion points,
Mhm.
it's just a single line where you add extra
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah.
Stuff
Okay,
like,
cool.
like I can do customized titles.
Yeah.
that
Yeah, you
that's
can definitely meet with them and then we can.
that's related to tool development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna cross-reference. Nice one.
Um, 7 minutes ago. Okay, what's 7 minutes ago? That recent. Yeah.
So I guess in one of these issues, I need an action item to get on and talk to Fly, don't I? Because I've not done.
Okay. In the tool development issue, that's related to meeting template design, or is
Isn't
it?
there an actual meeting templates issue?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, put it there.
Guidance,
I'll
no.
find it there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, actually, we can move on to that now. So in guidance notes, templates for meeting summaries,
Mhm.
which has been covering all the work, which goes back a long way now. So that's gone into this,
Yeah.
which and how it's evolved. So at the bottom here, I'll put message to speak to Fly on.
And just looking at the comment above that, I did send in, Fly's got that form for incubation where people are meant to say an idea for something that they'd like to discuss. And I've raised the idea of discussing whether meeting templates and Read AI should be compulsory, well, not compulsory, but expected in all meetings. And I think he's going to let us know when they have space to discuss that.
Right.
So yeah, I think that maybe when the tool is active, then that raises a question of, do we expect people to use it? Yeah.
Right, but I suppose that could be part of the topic of your discussion with
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is more ongoing stuff that's related to the implementation of everything.
Yeah, I think maybe we could also just add in that comment about, or I'll add it later, just about we need to go back to the workgroup leads that have been trialing the templates and just get their feedback. So I think that's Sucra, Tivo, Kenichi, and Slate.
Right, then we can have the trial. Okay, now moving on from that to what comment? Yeah, oh, Peter's back. Okay, hi Peter. Okay, that's on hold, the archive Gitbook backlog.
It
so
is, but I just wanted to raise something about it. I was thinking that now that we've got the tool almost ready to go and we've got the templates, is there some backlog work to be done on like existing summaries and maybe tweaking them to conform to what we now need? You know, things like when sometimes people have submitted summaries and they've named somebody with their Discord name, and then the next week they've named them with their actual name, and you know, just going through and reconciling that. Is that work that we should undertake, like tidying up the not the backlog, but I think it's probably since June, May
yeah,
or
that
June.
that would be historical archive Gitbook months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just
So
wondering, is it something that we want to take on? I kind of think it would be good, but don't know.
yeah, I mean, it could be quite confusing to mention this here because
Oh, yeah, you're right, actually.
this goes prior back to May.
Yeah. All right, maybe we need to just to
Mm,
create another issue for it, but I suppose we only need to do that if people think it's
yeah.
work that we should do. Because it, you know, I realise that once we've got the tool up and running, just approving somebody's summary is probably quicker. So it
Yeah.
means that I don't have so much archiving work to do, so I'll have time to go back and tidy.
Thank you. I put this in to do so it's not clutching up the board.
Sorry, what?
I put the backlog in to do so it's not clutching up the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
talking about the backlog, not the.
Yeah.
So okay,
But yeah,
so
I'm just wondering, is it worth adding an issue for tidying up the existing
okay,
archive?
what would you like to call that?
Let's not create it until we hear whether people think it's a good idea to do it.
Okay, do people think it's a good idea to do that?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Don't know when, well, like Vanessa said, once the tool is ready, then she'll have more time. So I think it's useful to have consistency there, definitely.
Okay, so let's say check on months. Well, previous archive months. Or what are you saying, Vanessa, for consistency?
There's a few different issues that might, I mean, maybe we can just call it tidy up, and maybe we could think about putting it in Q1 next year and starting then. So I guess, yeah, we put it in to do rather than in progress.
So it's something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, things, Andre, I'm right, aren't I? Say, like, if we kind of tag things with decision or action in square brackets, it would be easier for an LLM to pick it up, right? So that's something that we could go through and do as well. Because sometimes people have put something in their summary, but they haven't like labeled it as an action item or as a decision or anything like that. So
Oh, yes, yeah, that, because I'm gonna have to pass it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's also needs to be done, yeah.
And it, you know, it feels like it's not that big a task because it's not that much of a backlog, and I have a sense of what was being discussed in a lot of those sessions, so I should be able to do it.
Okay, I'll put it here. So if you want to add something to this issue, Vanessa.
Right, I'll go and do that in a minute.
Okay, and it's in to do as well. So
Yeah, great.
okay, yeah, we can then assign it to the appropriate milestone once we have the time to do it. Okay, we have archive workgroup record issues for October and November. Do you want to speak about those,
I
Vanessa?
think there's nothing to say. I mean, we can
Yeah,
because November's not finished and October I'm still chasing a couple. But
yeah.
yeah,
These are standard issues that just record the work done per month, aren't they? So yeah, they are ongoing work. So they're kind of like the heart of the archiving process. So that the issue just records that per a monthly basis. So when you've closed an issue, as you can see down here, that records that month has been done. Just explaining that for anyone who's new to
just a
Workgroup.
question. When we
Yeah.
have the tool up and running, will we still need issues per month? Or I suppose we will, won't we? But it'll
Yeah,
just be automated.
I mean, again, Andre, when any
I
new
think,
tool, yeah, go on.
yeah, I think when Vanessa reviews the summaries or approves them, there'll still be, maybe there will still be people that haven't submitted yet. So I don't know if those issues would live in these issues.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if you have a look at like October, I mean, I did it in September as well. I've started doing this thing where I just a few days after the end of the month log what hasn't been done. If you scroll right down, so to chase. So, and as they are now, this is a task that I'm thinking could be bountied, but I think it needs some thinking about how it interfaces with the tool process. And obviously the archive team will be approving summaries and checking that they're all okay before they go up. But then yeah, as you say, Andre, there might be people who haven't submitted one and we just want to know, is there one that we're waiting for, or is it just it wasn't recorded, which is fine. And I sort of think, going through the Git book, noticing what's there and what isn't there is something that someone else could do, and it could be a bounty.
yeah, presumably the database could be interrogated as well. So
Yeah, that's true.
I know that might be another thing, Andre. So but so basically you would just
I
go
just
on.
think it would be easier to do it via the Git book because, yeah, bringing somebody else into that interface, it could complicate things. Whereas I'm thinking if we ask
Okay.
somebody to just look what's in the Git book, and if there's stuff there that's got a heading, but oh no, I see, because it's right, isn't it, Andre, that in future we won't be setting up the Git book with the headings because the tool will automatically do that. So we just need to give them a list of what should be there, and then they can chase it.
Which could be like a weekly report produced from interrogating the database, presumably.
Oh, and this is another thing which I forgot to raise while we were discussing the tool. At the moment, just for clarity and because it's awkward otherwise, if a meeting is fortnightly, I'm tending to archive not this week, so that, in future, people in 50 years who don't have access to the calendar will just know that, yeah, this is a meeting, but it just didn't happen this week. And also, just kind of logging if something's been cancelled or whatever. And I'm just wondering how we go about that with the tool. Could there be an option to do that?
I could.
I mean, because it's not, we could do it manually. We could definitely easily do it manually. So it's important.
Look, I have to do some more work there. I forgot about that. I should have mentioned it in the tool development. What happens now, we still actually need to create. Oh, we don't have to create the files. We just need to update the links, but that's something I will do. But then when I work on that, I might as well work on this maybe to look at maybe look at end of the month, look at the file and then see, okay, these meetings are missing, and then just update the file and say, okay, this meeting didn't happen.
Can you repeat
Yeah,
that? Can you repeat that? So is it meetings, Vanessa, do you say meetings that did not happen or what? What was...
meetings that didn't happen for either they were cancelled or they're fortnightly
Yeah.
and it didn't happen that, it's not its week. So
I
it's just
think,
a bit of having a record of what should have been.
yeah, I might have to build an interface for that, because
Oh,
there could be different reasons, because maybe they just didn't
yeah.
submit. And
I don't know,
so we'll need to.
would it be easier to just do it manually, or I just don't want to give you more work and more interfaces to
Well,
build.
is
I'll
there
have to give it some thought. It's possible there's an easy solution, but I'll have to give it some thought.
well, I've captured it as a note under that issue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, the archive work group budget is, any updates on this is still ongoing, presumably, because this is the any conversations or issues about the budget for Q4 that we'll have to decide at the end of the year, presumably.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's still being discussed whether
Yeah.
the budget that we have there is actually the. I mean, I think there is some push to change it still, which, oh, I think there has to come a point where we say, yes, this is the budget you've got, or it isn't.
But isn't this issue also related to the quarterly report, or is that a separate issue?
That's a separate issue, I think,
That's
because we're
okay.
talking. What's being suggested is that we, as I understand it, is that we return to square one and try and rejig the budgets completely so that most of it goes towards what is being called outward facing. And it's just like, well, what you mean by outward facing and inward facing is debatable. And also, I mean, I made a post in Treasury Discord just going, I think it's a mistake to actually put all your money into outward facing, because you need to maintain and sustain the community. And yeah, I see, Peter, you've just put in chat, should be accepted and implemented by next week's town hall. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Yeah, that's the current aim. But yeah, it's part of a wider discussion. It's just
It is.
seeing we're halfway in the quarter. We should really focus on.
This is my main question also, as when are we going to start to look at Q1 next year's budget? Because I think it should be now.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go on, Peter.
Well, we do have to go there pretty much now-ish. At the same time, yeah, first we need to implement the Q4 one before even starting the discussion.
Yes, yeah, of course. And also it's hard to assess how the Q4 one has gone until Q4 is over. But, I just think we've had quite a few discussions where we've been saying things like, yeah, people should be doing some kind of, not detail, but some kind of budget projection. They should have an understanding at this point of what they hope to do in Q1 next year. And, we need to be sort of thinking about it now, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And it's also another concept related to it is basically based on your suggestion, Stephen, on the budget admin team kind of thing. We hope to at least have some version of that implemented in Q1 as well. It's an initial iteration, of course, as everything, but yeah, that's also connected.
I've kind of been quiet on that because I think too many cooks. So, and I kind of like it. So seems to be a contentious subject, but yeah, basically, I do think very simply there should be a separation between budget administration and approval, and then those who are requesting the budget. Put it that way, So how that plays out, I think it's up to the whole community, the community, as you say, Peter, to work that out. I'm sure people are interested in working that out. Go on.
But from the point of view of this work group, I think we should start to be thinking now about what we need to budget for in Q1 next year, because obviously it's going to be different, because maybe maybe we'll need less for tool development because we've developed a tool, maybe there'll be less for archiving because tool automates it. Maybe there'll be more for bounties, blah, blah, blah. So yeah.
What I'll do actually, so we don't forget, because we're going to start another 2 weeks. We'll be in, are we in December in 2 weeks time? Well, almost.
Yeah.
So, well, not quite, but what I'll do is create an issue for Q1.
Yes.
Okay, just so it's there. So we know we
Okay.
going to have to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it writes itself. We've got it in mind. But yeah, we probably should formalize it. Oh, and the other thing, which I think we should formally say in a meeting, because we didn't have a meeting last week, blah, blah, blah. In the Treasury meeting, it was suggested that maybe when we put a budget item for meetings, we need to break that down a little bit more, because the reason that was queried is that people were not clear what we were including in our heading meeting.
We can include
so
that.
we could actually retitle it kind of project management or something, but just so that we have logged that discussion happened in a Treasury meeting. And yeah.
One second. Just trying to think how to do that. I need to update the milestones on this as well, actually, by the way. Okay, let's see the meeting record. Okay, so these meeting records, okay, they've created some it does, look like it's just a meeting, but this issue covers all the organization, project management, as you said, Vanessa. So is the idea, what are the suggestions, to change the title of the issue, or
we could
add some guidance to the issue?
We could do both. We could retitle it meeting / project management, and we could add something in our goal, or just to explain what the meeting issue comprises. And I mean,
sorry, don't change it.
Don't change it.
No, I was going to say because it's actually automated, isn't it, Andre?
Yes.
So yeah, because I don't want to break it. So
no, you can't just change it now, can you? But maybe we should just get together and talk about it and sort it out outside of a meeting or something, because I mean, I can let you know exactly what was said. I took some notes in the meeting, so I can share that and we can work from there, maybe.
I'll put it in notes below, because we can still update notes below the issue. Okay, so issue title and guidance to be added. Okay, and guidance to be added to. I put in inverted commas meeting issues.
Yes.
So scope of budget is clear. Okay, so scope, that's really what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Allocation is.
So in the end, it's basically changing an automated template, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's what we're doing.
The scope and content. So it's also what that budget listing covered, basically. Okay, so and if we do that asynchronously, did you say?
Yeah, I think we could do, can we? Also, just looking at the top of this meeting issue, there are people here who are not logged as present, and people who are logged are there who are not present.
Well, they're not present until they're ticked.
I know, but I'm just suggesting that we add
let's
Anika as well.
See if I can do this now. Yeah, it's going to refresh it each time. Let me just see if I can do a trick.
No, if you go to edit, you don't. It will. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm trying.
Okay.
So we have me, you, we had, who else is in the
and Anika and Love.
And I can't see the screen. Can you paste that in? Or
ON.
Yeah.
YEKA. Nice one.
Well,
sort of thinking we should probably change the template to take Miro out because we
Yeah,
should be able to make it.
in fact, if I do
We
that
can take
now,
him out now.
it'll carry over, won't it?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
just the title
Yeah.
is sensitive.
yeah, this the main body of the content carries over. So
Yeah.
if we do guidance, like we state down here for what the scope of this is about, we can put that here under somewhere, you know, and that'll
Yeah.
carry over. But as Andre said, the main sensitivity is the title, because the title is generated from a GitHub action every 2 weeks. Okay, that's now, well, there's the ambassador's Git book. Okay, is the last thing. I'm not sure, I've got no clue what we last discussed
I
on the
mean,
ambassador's Git
basically,
book.
the idea is that I think we can budget for a major update this quarter, and I haven't done it yet because I'm a dreadful person. So that's
Yeah.
kind of where we're at. But I aim to do it by the end of the quarter and just get it all bloody tidied up.
Okay.
And I added a note to kind of list what is gonna go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just leave it as it is. And again, for people who are, if an issue, but if the last note on an issue hasn't changed, we just keep it open, and that's the update. And you know, so what you've said here is the current status, but that's, isn't it? You know, so and I think that's it. It's unless there's anything anyone wants to talk about on the project board, or any issues we should add to the project board, I'll stop the share and stop recording.